Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gone Legends. In today's video, we'll be taking a moment to remember and pay tribute to American celebrities who have sadly passed away today and in recent days, along with other notable figures from around the world. Before we begin, please take a second to show your love and support by giving this video a thumbs up. It really helps our channel grow and means a lot to us. Thank you. And now, let's begin.
He was a man whose voice carried wisdom, whose eyes held mystery, and whose presence on screen could silence a room. This is the story of Donald Sutherland, a name that became synonymous with power, depth, and timeless artistry. Born on July 17, 1935, in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, Donald Sutherland's journey was anything but ordinary. Before the world knew his face, he was a shy, intelligent boy, fascinated by radio shows, reading, and the art of storytelling. He studied engineering at first, but his true calling whispered through every play, every stage, every quiet dream that refused to fade. And so, against all odds, he turned away from a stable career path to chase something uncertain, the magic of acting. The road wasn't easy. In the early years, Sutherland faced rejection after rejection. Casting directors called him too tall, too strange, too unconventional for Hollywood standards. But he carried on, because deep down, he knew that greatness doesn't come from fitting in, it comes from standing out. His first major breakthrough came in 1967 with The Dirty Dozen, where his quirky yet commanding performance made audiences take notice. Then came MASH*, 1970, a role that cemented him as one of cinema's most unique talents. With that trademark mix of intelligence, wit, and humanity, Donald Sutherland became a voice for a generation disillusioned by war and searching for truth. From Clute to Don't Look Now, Invasion of the Body Snatchers to Ordinary People, he proved again and again that no character was too complex, no story too dark, and no emotion too raw for him to explore. But behind the scenes, Sutherland's path was marked with quiet battles. The loneliness of fame, the constant pull between family and film sets, the loss of privacy that came with a career built on vulnerability. Yet he carried it all with grace. He found strength in his art, love in his family, and pride in seeing his son, Kiefer Sutherland, follow his footsteps into the world of acting, carrying on the legacy of storytelling that ran in their blood. Over the span of 7 decades, Donald Sutherland built one of the most extraordinary filmographies in cinema history. Over 200 roles, each unforgettable in its own way. He never won an Oscar for a single performance, but in 2017, the Academy honored him with a Lifetime Achievement Award, a recognition long overdue for a man who helped shape the very soul of modern acting. To younger generations, he became the chilling and elegant President Snow in The Hunger Games, a role that reintroduced him to millions, not just as an actor, but as a master of emotional control and quiet menace. Every line he delivered carried weight. Every scene, a lesson in restraint and power. Donald Sutherland passed away on June 20, 2024, at the age of 88. When the world heard the news, there was a collective silence, the kind that only follows the loss of a legend. Actors, filmmakers, and fans from every corner of the globe paid tribute to a man who had changed the art of performance forever. He was more than just a star. He was an artist of truth. A man who never played a role for fame, but for meaning. A storyteller who made us question, reflect, and feel. His legacy lives on, in the countless films that bear his voice, in the actors he inspired, and in the audiences who will never forget what it felt like to watch him bring a story to life. Donald Sutherland taught us that real greatness lies not in glory, but in authenticity. That even in silence, an actor can speak volumes. And though the curtain has fallen, his spirit remains, in every frame, every memory, and every heart he touched. Rest in peace, Donald Sutherland. Your light will never fade. You are, and always will be, one of the Gone Legends. There are actors who entertain us. There are actors who inspire us. And then, there are actors who heal us. They don't just perform, they touch something deep within the soul. They make us feel seen, understood, and human again. This is the story of one of the most beloved men in cinema history. A man whose kindness is as famous as his talent. The man who taught us that decency, humility, and hope never go out of style. This is the story of Thomas Jeffrey Hanks. Born on July 9, 1956, in Concord, California, Tom Hanks came into a world of uncertainty. He was the third of 4 children, a quiet boy in a loud and shifting household. When Tom was just 5 years old, his parents divorced, and his childhood turned into a constant journey, moving from one house to another, from one school to the next. He once said that by the time he was 10, he had lived in 10 different homes. His father, a cook, often took jobs that moved the family from town to town. His mother, Janet Marilyn, a hospital worker, tried to keep things together, but life was tough. Tom learned early what loneliness felt like, and how imagination could be his only steady companion. He spent many days by himself, watching, listening, absorbing the world around him. He didn't know it then, but that quiet observation would become the foundation of his greatest gift, empathy. In high school, Tom found his escape, the stage. Theater became his home, his safe place, his voice. He wasn't the popular kid, not the athlete, not the rebel, but when he stepped on stage, everything made sense. He could become anyone. A king, a clown, a dreamer. It was through acting that Tom began to find himself. After high school, he attended Chabot College and later transferred to California State University, Sacramento. But while others were studying textbooks, Tom was studying life, its pain, its humor, its fragile beauty. He eventually dropped out of college to chase a dream that felt impossible, to become an actor. With nothing but faith in his heart and a few dollars in his pocket, he moved to New York City in 1979. New York was unforgiving. He slept in small apartments, ate cheap meals, and went to endless auditions. He was rejected more times than he could count, but he kept going. Every no only fueled him further. In 1980, he landed a quirky role on a sitcom called Bosom Buddies. The show was odd, about two men dressing as women to live in an all-female apartment building. But Tom made it work. His charm was undeniable. Even when the show ended, people remembered him. Then came his breakthrough, Splash, in 1984. A romantic comedy directed by Ron Howard, about a man who falls in love with a mermaid. It sounds silly, but Tom's sincerity made audiences believe it. He wasn't the typical Hollywood leading man. He didn't rely on looks or bravado. He relied on truth, on heart. And the world fell in love with him. But success is never a straight line. The mid-80s were filled with ups and downs. A few hits, several flops. Tom began to question his path. He once said, "It's hard when the phone stops ringing. You start wondering if the dream is over." Then, in 1988, a film changed everything. A film called Big. Tom played a 12-year-old boy trapped in a man's body, a role that required pure innocence and deep humanity. He delivered both. Audiences didn't just watch him, they felt him. He made people laugh, cry, and remember what it was like to be a child. That performance earned Tom Hanks his first Academy Award nomination. And more importantly, it earned him respect. He wasn't just a funny man anymore, he was a real actor. The 1990s would transform Tom Hanks from a talented actor into a legend. In 1993, he took on one of the most powerful roles in film history, Andrew Beckett in Philadelphia. A gay lawyer fired for having AIDS, fighting for justice and dignity. It was raw. It was emotional. And it was necessary. Tom's performance didn't just earn him his first Oscar for Best Actor. It helped change hearts, shift conversations, and bring empathy to a world that often lacked it. Then came 1994. A role that would forever define his legacy, Forrest Gump. The story of a simple man who changed the world without even knowing it. A man who taught us that life is like a box of chocolates. Through Forrest, Tom reminded the world that innocence is not weakness, and kindness is not naive, they are strengths. He won his second consecutive Oscar, something only a few have ever achieved. But more than that, he won the world's admiration. After that, there was no stopping him. He took us to space in Apollo 13, to the beaches of Normandy in Saving Private Ryan, to death row in The Green Mile, and to a deserted island in Castaway. Each performance was a journey of humanity, loss, courage, redemption. When he talked to a volleyball named Wilson, the world cried, because Tom made even loneliness feel sacred. He didn't just act, he invited audiences into the human condition. Every character felt real because Tom Hanks was real. But behind the scenes, even legends face pain. Fame brings pressure, to stay perfect, to stay relevant. Tom battled exhaustion, burnout, and the fear of losing himself in the machine of Hollywood. But he stayed grounded. He once said, "I'm not in the business of fame. I'm in the business of telling the truth." That truth came from his heart, and from his family. In 1988, he married actress and producer Rita Wilson, his soulmate, his anchor. Together, they built a marriage that Hollywood rarely sees, one built on love, laughter, and unshakable support. When Rita was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2015, Tom stood by her side every single day. He called it one of the hardest battles of his life. Not a role, not a movie, but real life, real love. Rita recovered, and their bond grew even stronger. Tom also faced health challenges of his own. Years of weight changes for film roles took a toll. In 2013, he revealed he had type 2 diabetes. But even then, he didn't hide it. He spoke openly, using his platform to inspire others to take care of their health and live responsibly. That honesty, that vulnerability, made him even more beloved. Through the 2000s, Tom continued to dominate cinema. Not with ego, but with excellence. He gave life to one of animation's most iconic voices, Woody, in Toy Story. Through that character, he reminded children and adults alike about loyalty, friendship, and growing up. He produced and directed historical epics like Band of Brothers and The Pacific, honoring real heroes and soldiers who sacrificed for freedom. He didn't just entertain, he educated, inspired, and uplifted. People call him America's dad. But really, he's everyone's dad, the man who makes you believe that good people still exist in the world. Tom Hanks has won 2 Oscars, 7 Emmys, 4 Golden Globes, and countless other awards. He received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Barack Obama, one of the highest honors an American civilian can receive. He has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and millions of fans across the globe remind the world of what truly matters: compassion, courage, and connection. He has survived personal storms, faced global fame, and carried the weight of being everyone's hero. Yet, through it all, he's never stopped being humble, never stopped being Tom. To his fans, he is more than an actor. He is a friend, a teacher, a reminder that decency never goes out of style. To Thomas Jeffrey Hanks, thank you for every smile you gave, for every tear you drew, for every lesson you taught, about kindness, about resilience, about love. You've shown the world that heroes aren't defined by capes or fame, but by the goodness they carry in their hearts. You've made the world believe again that being good is still the most powerful thing of all. This is the legacy of Tom Hanks. Forever humble. Forever human. Forever a legend.